We are happy to welcome you to this session, and if the video can be played, I'll try it at the end. We're very grateful for the speakers today, and this is a sponsored video or sponsored session by Microsoft, and our thanks go out to them. I will turn it over to Alejandro.
All right, thank you. So today's session is me ensuring citizen services during a pandemic and beyond. Really what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the Power Platform, and we're going to build and deploy and talk about building and deploying low-code, no-code solutions. Actually, at the end of this, we'll be building an actual app together, just putting everything together as fast as possible in our time slot. So agenda introductions, then we're going to talk about Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps. We're going to demo a COVID-19 app that we actually developed here at HSO. And then we're going to go ahead and build an app on the fly. And I can show you how to put that all together. And at the very end, we'll have questions and answers. So for introductions, I want to say hello from nice, warm, 30-degree Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm a pre-sales solution architect here at HSO. I have 14 years of overall Dynamics 365 CE experience, a certified Power Apps and Dynamics 365 solution architect. And also at the same time, I have 12 years of actual development and extending the Dynamics 365 platform and Power Apps platform. So what I want to jump into is maybe some of the challenges that you're seeing today. You know, in today's world with a pandemic, there's a number of challenges that we have, number of challenges that have changed how we do business today. Citizens need to have the citizens' needs have been increasing due to the support required by the pandemic. So time and resources have been allocated to help support immediate needs of an organization, and paper processes are not able to be conducted based on office closures, slow shipping, response, and legacy systems need maintenance to be able to be up to standards for remote work, which makes it hard to leverage existing technology and processes. Most organizations have been forced to start their digital transformation because of this pandemic. And so I'm sure a lot of you are having these challenges today, working remote. And so, you know, with the Power Platform, organizations are able to face these challenges really head on. So, you know, what is the Power Platform? Well, the Power Platform is structured using a low-code, no-code solution. It spans across Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Azure, and standalone applications. So really, from left to right, I'm going to talk about each one. You have Power BI, which is your business intelligence. This is where you do your analytics around your data, being able to take data from different data silos and bring it all together and create a report or a dashboard. And these reports and dashboards can be externally facing too as well. We're going to cover that here in a minute. And then also we have Power Apps. You know, Power Apps is a rapid no-code, low-code development environment for building those custom apps to meet those business needs or your department needs. You know, there's services and connectors which you can utilize in order to build these simple and integrations with existing data. And also, at the same time, Power Apps can be utilized on a mobile or web client. You have Power Automate, which is my absolute favorite. Which is where you could do your workflow automation. So if you want to think of it and take systems that don't talk to each other and don't work with each other today, like SharePoint and your email, you can actually build a workflow automation tool around that. And on the far right-hand side is Virtual Power Agents. Unfortunately, it's not available for the government cloud. And so that's why we're not going to talk about it too much in this session, but what it is, it's those virtual bots, that self-help, really driving that self-help for your citizens. So all of this is communicating with that common data service, and you can utilize data connectors and AI builder, everything kind of in this one big suite. So let's talk about connectors though. You know, today, Microsoft has over 350 connectors, which can be used with that Power Platform. You know, a connector is a proxy or a wrapper around an API that allows the underlying service to talk to the platform. It provides a way for users to connect their accounts and leverage a set of pre-built actions and triggers to build their applications and workflows. Examples of this can be Office 365, Twitter, Google services, Salesforce, and DocuSign. And if you're unable to find one of these pre-built connectors, you actually have the ability to create custom connectors, which can be developed using Postman or any kind of related developing tools. These connectors can be a hybrid approach too as well. So don't think that everything needs to be in the cloud. You can connect to on-premise systems using a data gateway. So if you have an old server running a SQL environment and you want to pull that data in to the Power Platform, you can install that data gateway and bring that information in and create that custom connector. So don't think everything needs to be in the cloud with the Power Platform, which is great. So some benefits to this low-code app approach. There's a number of benefits of the Power Platform, but these are some of the key ones that I see or that we see out there when working with Power Platform. You have increased development agility, which really allows you to reduce errors across your organization and enhance, the repetitive and time-consuming processes, right? You also have the ability to take an agile approach while working with the platform because it doesn't take days to make these solutions with a low-code approach with Power Apps. Reducing time and cost is probably that number one benefit on everyone's mind. And because of this platform, you have the ability to quickly integrate between systems. You have that ability to empower your citizen developers so that you don't have to have a full IT staff and really just work through those backlogs of requirements and user stories in a much quicker pace to really reduce that full project lifecycle. Efficiency can be reduced due to the fact that you're removing data silos through this common data service and AI builder. And as you can see from Gartner, 65% of apps in the future will be developed using low code, no code by 2024. So really cool stat there. Let's talk about how Power Apps can help with government goals, right? Using Power Apps, you can reduce the amount of time workers spent on repetitive processes, free them up to work more closely with citizens, and provide better ways of really delivering that better result. With the mobile apps feature inside of the Power Platform, government workers can no longer have to be tied to their desk, right? We can free them. We can actually put them in front of our citizens and put them in the field sites in citizens' homes if needed, right? Furthermore, you can when your processes and your project management workflows are digitalized, the status of those efforts in one spot so that your social investments can be reported on easily. Data gives government organizations the ability to identify and address community challenges more efficiently. With Power Apps, you can leverage that common data service, a full managed cloud scale solution for investigating, managing, and analyzing data across your applications and platforms. And you can also easily build artificial intelligence into your apps to handle those complex tasks and predict outcomes based on that data. Digitize your information faster. With resulting into these insights and these capabilities, you can identify challenges and you can also improve your processes rapid and improve the overall results. Effective government requires the highest standard of trust, privacy, and security. Power Apps supports these needs by providing a unified solution built on a highly secure and capable Microsoft Cloud platform. With Microsoft's trust, you have that software as a service platform that will have those security standards and that government compliance in the back of its mind at all times. So this means that we can keep data services visible, auditable, and consistent. So let's talk about the first one here, which is Power BI. What is Power BI and how does it work? And really, Power BI is a collection of software services, apps, connectors that work together to turn your unrelated sources and data into a more coherent and more immersed experience and insight. So really, your data can be a spreadsheet, It could be a collection of cloud-based or on-premise data warehouses, and Power BI can easily connect all of these data sources and visualize this data for your users to use and consume. And this information can actually be published on-premise. It could be published on the web externally so that you could do your reporting and your citizens can have the insight into the information that they might need. So those are some of the benefits I was kind of talking about there beforehand. So really, what is it? It's easy to use. As you can see on the right-hand side, you're able to take components and bring them into this canvas area in order to pull the data and build the reports easily just by dragging and dropping these elements onto the canvas here. It's fast to deploy too. It won't take months to really see value. Your constituents will see immediate value quickly. It's actionable too as well. With Power Automate, which we're going to cover next, it allows you to kind of work with that data and put some automation to it as well. Data refreshes, no more waiting at the end of the month to kind of consolidate everything together. You can do that in real time, and that really allows you to get the most up-to-date data across all of your different systems. And it runs on the government cloud. It's highly secured. And so you can always remember that Microsoft, when they do publish these tools for the government cloud, it's available for the government with that extra level of security in mind. And speaking of flexibility, let's see a few examples around Power BI and how it works with government. So maybe one of the things that you have to deal with today is that comprehensive annual financial reporting. So, that's where Power BI can really come to play. Publishing these financial reports as an open data creates a more transparent and publicly accountable financial system. It discourages embezzlement and financial errors, and it allows your citizens, right, in the community to get a clear picture of the financial status and what's going on. Publishing these reports is regarded as the financial best practices. And maybe you're doing it today with PDFs, right? But that's not enough. You can't really index a PDF. You can't pivot that data like you can real time with Power BI, like you can with Power BI. And it's time consuming, to publish these actual PDFs. And so with Power BI, as soon as you make that data model and from that bring all those components together, it's all going to be refreshed, utilizing these connectors and pulling the data in to really build that report for you. So some of the benefits of that open financial reporting that I was just talking about. But a city in California actually just recently passed a 1-cent sales tax to hire new deputies. And this transparent reporting to inform the public now shows how the city is spending that money, which helps to maintain that support for that tax. That's one of the things that we've seen with a city that we were involved with, really being able to open up that transparency for the citizens. Also, at the same time, it's cheaper cost, right? Power BI is probably one of the cheaper costs out there based off of reporting tools of its caliber. And then again, it makes your organization run better, right? It puts that confidence into your citizens' eyes. And from that, it really just helps to streamline your process. So let's see it in action, right? An example of an external publishing report is a city of San Jose who we've worked with. They're utilizing Power BI to showcase energy efficiency and renewable energy investments. So while the cost of clean energy initiatives get the most attention, less is devoted to the benefits of clean energy, and often because there's unclear understanding of those benefits and how to estimate them. So publishing this data publicly helps citizens see and understand the benefits of those investments and the overall approval. So let's take a look at it in action. So I'm going to jump to my webpage here. We can see that we have the city of San Jose, and this is a Power BI report. It's even outlined for us down here at the bottom. I can expand this, and as a citizen, I have the ability to kind of see these interactions, right? We can see what the goals are for the city. And at the same time, we can see what the actual is. So as I'm hovering over this, I can see that, in 2039, we're trying to get to 18.8% goal on trips taken with public transportation, right? I also had the ability to kind of see all of these other reports that have been publicly released to me. Energy, household energy use. We're trying to reduce that down. And of the household energy use, what's natural gas and what's electric. So I can go ahead and expand this, and I can see, the natural gas is in this purple color, and the electric use is in a kind of a more red pinkish color. And as I'm highlighting over this, I can see what the actual average usage per year, and it's highlighting to me that it's 10,015 kilowatts. I don't know, right, how to measure energy here, but that's per year. So as a citizen, I'm able to see what our goal is for our city. And also at the same time, I can see where do we fit on that? Are we hitting that goal? And is my tax money going to the right spot? So jumping back to my deck, I want to talk about the next piece, which is Power Automate. And really with Power Automate, it's one of my favorites personally, just based on the fact of what you can do with this tool. You'll be able to put workflow and processes across your organization. And from that, those workflows can be maybe, an attachment comes into your email. And from that, you want this workflow to pull that attachment out of your email, put it into Sales SharePoint. And then from that, you don't have to do anything. So as soon as that email arrives, it takes that email out and it can just put it wherever it needs to go. And you could do other things with this too as well. You can set up automatic reminders. One of my coworkers has one set up so that it reminds him to drink water every hour. And that's something you can do. You can move data between systems on a schedule. So daily, maybe you need to move data from your Access database or SharePoint and being able to push it to your ERP system. That's something you can do with Power Automate. And again, you have those 350 connectors that are pre-built for you. And if those connectors don't work for you for the Power Automate or any of these Power Platform tools, you can build your own connector. And then the last thing that I can talk to you about too as well with this tool is it has that ability to do local computing around like Excel and things like that. So if you needed to update data, push data into an Excel spreadsheet, that's something you can do with Power Automate. So, here are some attributes about Power Automate. Everything starts with a trigger for Power Automate. There needs to be some kind of trigger. Is it on a schedule, right? Is it a button click? Are my users actually clicking a button and kicking this off? Or something, or record could be created in a system. Some kind of trigger needs to kick this off. And then from that, when your flow is triggered, what you can do is you build actions around that. And that's really the meat and potatoes of this application, those actions, taking that document from an email. When an email arrives, that's my trigger. And then when I take that attachment and I move it to SharePoint, that is my action. I'm pushing it over into SharePoint. You have the ability to have personal workflows, just like how my coworker has that reminder to drink water, which is fun. But what's the fun in that when you can share this with others in your organization? So just like documents that we share today with our team, you have that ability to share flows with your teams so that they can collaborate and streamline their processes too as well. And another thing too as well, you can reduce those manual processes by leveraging AI Builder. So what happens here is as you're utilizing Power Automate, it's learning and it's trying to actually suggest improvements and also find unstructured data that you can bring into it too as well. So constantly looking to improve your processes with that AI side of things. And don't think that you need to be a developer. I've kind of said this, but Power Automate is automation really for all, right? It's easy to use with the drag and drop functionality. Users from your growing citizen developing community all the way up to your IT admins can utilize the Power Automate platform. We see it a lot with IT that they want the ability to kind of reduce those IT functions and those tasks that are always happening. With Power Automate, you have that ability to kind of streamline that. Those scheduling of delivery of emails, of maybe your password's going to be is expiring, or things like that, where it can be very cumbersome for an IT admin. that's where you can initiate this Power Automate. So really the building blocks of Power Automate are a trigger again, and I'm kind of just harping on this so that you know how this kind of looks, right? You have that trigger, and again, with that example that I keep using, email comes in, that's my trigger, right? When it comes into my inbox. You have that action, creating that file, right? That's kind of highlighted here on the right-hand side where you create that file. Then you have a conditional logic, which I haven't talked about. And that conditional logic is an if statement, right? If the email is from, I don't know, X, Y, and Z vendor, maybe I want to process it a different way. Maybe I want to put it in a different folder, right, inside of SharePoint. Or maybe I want to forward it to Petra so that she has a copy of that email. That's something that you can do with that conditional logic, being able to push or really have the different kinds of outcomes. So Power Apps. Now, Power Apps is the fun one, right? This is the one where you have the ability to build solutions for the web and for mobile. So you have that ability to kind of build task-based Canvas apps and model-driven apps, starting from some kind of data module or any kind of connector, to be honest with you, right? So with a Canvas app, just like in the name, it's like a painter's blank canvas, right? You have the ability to build an application with no structure, which allows you to utilize that drag and drop studio to meet your needs. And I'm going to show you how to do that, right? I'll show you that towards the end here. So for example, if you want an app for a field technician who takes water samples at different sites while having that offline capability and phone functionality where they need to take a picture of the sample, that's going to be a Canvas app. You can build that app just by dragging and dropping elements onto that canvas. And then for a model-driven app, think of the back office, right? So I have this water sample, the technician takes the sample and uploads that information into my database somewhere, right? Think of model-driven app as the back office. I'm sitting behind a desk and I need to process this sample when it comes in. Maybe I need to issue a permit or approval process. That's where model-driven apps are, where you would build one of those, right, for that back office so that you're following an approval process. You don't need to have to build everything from scratch to do your job. It's processing that information and moving it along and kicking the can down the road, as they say, right? So both Canvas and model-driven apps are accessible from the web and mobile, right? So you can work wherever you want, when you want. So don't think that one is actual mobile and one is not. So, in today's world, it's been a challenging year, 2020. I think everyone's ready to write this off, but there is a pandemic happening, and here at HSO, what we've done is we've actually created a COVID-19 contact tracing app, right? And with this app, organizations are able to configure locations and zones within their office. And these employees can actually easily report on their whereabouts as they move from like conference room to conference room. This app also keeps privacy in mind so that HR has the ability to see employees' whereabouts within the application, but only HR has access to that. And also with HR staffs, they have the responsibility and the ability to actually alert employees based on like a positive test, or maybe they got in close contact with somebody who tested positive. So on this screenshot here on the right-hand side, the phone looking thing, the phone picture here, that's going to be your Canvas app that we've built. And then behind that, right, where all the data is feeding into, where we have dashboards reporting, and maybe I need to alert somebody that they've been in close contact, that's that model-driven app. So let's go ahead and let's see it in action, right? So let me switch my screen over here. And this is the model-driven app, right? I'm trying to pretend like we're inside of a phone right now. And this is a questionnaire that we've created. Have you received a positive COVID-19 test in the past 14 days? I could say no here. And close contact, have you been in close contact with somebody? Maybe I'll say yes. And from here, it's saying, what's your temperature, and I can pick the temperature that I'm at right now. And then I can do my last, this is when I was last checked for that temperature, and I'll say today. And just like that, I've submitted that questionnaire. I'm on my phone, and maybe I'm walking around the office and I need to check into a conference room, I can just one click check in. And from that, it's now keeping track of my location throughout the office. Also, at the same time, I have the ability to look at a health update status. Maybe I'm on the couch and I'm sick and I need to report my status to HR so that we can put a stop to this pandemic. I can actually say when my first symptoms were, when I tested myself, and then from that, if it was positive or negative. So if I did have a positive test, I can just submit that right from my phone and obviously send that information in so it could be processed. And keep in mind too, as well, Canvas apps and Power Apps can be embedded into Teams. I don't know if there's any Teams people out there. If we were in a conference room, I'd see hands go up. But Teams, you can actually embed these Canvas apps as well into them. So let's look at the model-driven app side of things. So this was that Canvas app. Let's go into model-driven side. So if I open up my browser here, oops, let me actually know this is right. And we could go into my safe workplace admin model-driven app. You'll notice here that I have, I'm on a dashboard. I'm in the check-in dashboard. I can see all the recently checked in. So all the check-ins that are happening. I can see today's check-ins by today. There's this graph here that is interactive. I can pivot the data how I see fit, right? So just by clicking on this and being able to pivot it by any field, maybe I want to see by exit date and pivot this information in a line chart. Nothing too great here in terms of the data, but you're able to interact with that data with this dashboard. And you can see here that we had 3 people check in on the 6th, and they had 4 check-ins. So that's why there's 2 lines there. One is for the amount of people, and then the other one's for the amount of check-ins, which could be more. And then everything for you in terms of processing and being able to work with that data is here for you. So as I move into maybe these tracers here, I can move in and maybe get some information about my own personal record. You can see I'm actually seeing the data about it. How many reports do we have on this individual? How many questionnaires did they fill out? And being able to get the information that we need utilizing this model-driven app side of things, right? So that's really model-driven app. Let me jump back into my deck here, and I want to showcase some logic around this. For the instance, let's think about invoice/form processing. And with Azure Blob Storage and the Power Platform, it can actually detect forms and form recognition. This is where you have that email that comes in. Maybe it's an invoice, and we'll take that example. And we have an invoice that comes into my email. With Azure Blob Storage and Form Recognizer API, we have the ability to actually scan that actual attachment and figure out that this is the vendor that it goes to. And this is all the information, and scrape that actual data off of that form without having to do that manual entry, not having to type into another system that information anymore. And I'm sure there's a lot of people on this phone who do that on a day-to-day basis. Well, this can streamline that utilizing the Power Platform. We built a invoice processing app really just to do that. The overall benefit is to reduce that manual entry and being able to kick off that automation. And that automation can be sending that information to key systems, triggering workflows such as notifications on different stages, right, and different statuses. You can centralize your storages of documentation in a document management system like SharePoint, so everything's in one location. No more searching your inbox for these kinds of documents, which is kind of nice, right? And then the other key benefit too as well is security, being able to know that this is a real document. Government documents have been issued. We don't want any fraud out there. You have the ability to train the system to look for key points, even spacing, everything along the lines to validate that this is an actual document that was issued and it's one that needs to be processed. And then also, let's save the trees, right? In a way, let's reduce the paperwork so that we don't have to take papers from one desk to the next, especially with, all of us working from home. This is something that can really help reduce that manual process and really speed up how we process, forms as they come in. And you can look at the screenshot here and you'll notice there's the invoice, and really it's pulling the invoice number, it's pulling over the total, it's pulling even the line items, everything from that paper invoice or that digital invoice into fields so that it can be pushed to the right systems. I want to talk about the pricing around the Power Platform, and how does that work, and really for Power Apps to be specific. To run a app, you have that per app license, and really that is just one app that you're working in, and you assign that license to an individual. And then and that's $10 per user per month. And then you have your per user license, which is unlimited in amount of apps. And that's model-driven apps, that's Canvas apps. You can have 100 of them and they can utilize all of them. And that's for $40 per user per month. That is something that it goes back and forth in terms of, we work with our clients to get an understanding of which license makes the right sense so that you can save money on licensing costs. And then on the right-hand side of that, all the way to the far right with the robot, is that add-on. You can add on additional storage. You can add on a portal, right? So if you want to have an external portal, we've done this for a permitting process for water, where the citizens have the ability to fill out the permit from their portal, and then from that, submit that to a model-driven app. And then that way, it kind of helps to streamline that process, so they're not filling out a PDF, scanning it, and sending in the email. They're actually able to do that from a portal, a Power Apps portal. And then virtual agents, unfortunately, again, Government Cloud, it hasn't been released yet. I'm sure it will soon, but that's promoting that self-help, right? Those are different kinds of add-ons that you can add on to your licensing costs. So we have, I think, 10 minutes left. So what I want to do is let's build an app on the fly so I can show you how this works. So I'm in my environment here, and you can see I have a Canvas app. I can build one from a blank Canvas app. I can build a model-driven app from a blank, even a portal app. And then also Microsoft releases templates too as well. So if I wanted to have a leave request Canvas app, submit your leave, that is something that is already pre-built for you as a template, and you can utilize that template and have a starting point. So again, it's trying to quickly be able to create these apps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go from a common data model here, or a common data service, and be able to pull in data that I have with that database. So you can see it logs me into my environment. And from that, I have the ability to select what table I want to interact with. Maybe I want to interact with the contacts. I want to make kind of a contact. I want to add contacts on the fly into my database. Maybe I want to take a picture of them as I'm adding them. Maybe I'm at a conference, right? The typical exposition hall. Instead of me writing down on a piece of paper potential opportunities and who I've interacted with, I can build an app on the fly so that when you come visit me at my booth, I can just take down that contact information quickly. So you can see here, it actually pulls the data in for me, and we can see potential contacts in my contacts in my system. We have these 3 different screens that automatically get built for us. And I have a browse screen, a details screen, and an edit screen, right? So on my browse screen, maybe I want to search for something, right? I can actually press the play button here at the top, and that play button is going to pretend like it's that model or that mobile app or that app that I'm going to be interacting with, and I can do some testing. So as a developer, I can say, I want to see if I can find Kelly as a record. Notice how nothing comes back. I know Kelly's in my database. And the reason is because of my searching capability, or by searching what's defaulted in my search. So just like Excel, you have the ability to come in here. I'm not writing code, right? I just know what my fields are called inside my database, but I'm not writing any code. And it's just like Excel. I can say, I want to search by last name. And at the same time, I want to search by first name. And as soon as I click off of that, you'll notice information is actually populating for me, right? It's working real time. It's pulling that information in. And it's nothing that I have to publish. It just knows that as soon as I start changing these properties, it's going to pull that information in for me. So now it's searching by Kelly here, right? Maybe I want to see what the details information about Kelly is. So I can click on it. It can pull me into that details screen. And you know what? I don't have enough information here. Maybe I want to see her address. Well, the good news about that is I can go and click on that actual details form, go into edit fields here, right? And this is my data source of contacts, and I can add fields. So on the fly, I'm able to go in here and I can add in, street 1, street 2, street 3, hit add, and notice it's now pulling all that information in from my database, right? And then from that, I can change the format. Maybe I want to change the format of the phone number. You can see here a phone number. I'm going to change that phone number to be view as phone number. So now what that's going to do is it's now click to dial. So if I open up my phone and I'm running this app on my phone, I can actually just click on the phone number and it's actually going to call the individual, right? And remember that use case, let's say we're at a booth and I want to collect some information about an individual, maybe email, maybe their contact type or constituent type and business phone number, right? But that's not enough. I want to be able to add more to this. I can go into components here on the left-hand side. I like to expand the hamburger, right, over here on the left-hand side. And then inside my insert, I have all of these different components that I can add on to this form. If I wanted to, and I wanted to have a date picker, I could just drag and drop that onto here. But instead, I'm looking and I'm going through this list and I'm saying, you know what, I want to be able to do a camera, right? I want to be able to get that picture. I can grab that camera functionality. And as you can see here, it's trying to utilize my computer camera. And I could say allow, and we're going to have a camera here now so that when I'm getting that information, I'm able to now take a picture of that individual and upload that into my database. It's all within inside of that gallery. And so when I hit save on this actual photo, it's going to then save it as an attachment into my database. And then from that, I have that ability to capture that individual so that weeks down the road, I know exactly who I talked to, right? And this is something you can do from barcode scanning. I've seen that too as well. Drag and drop barcode scanner on here. And then you have the ability to hit scan and from that, bring that information in, like if you're scanning permits or anything like that, that's something that you do have that ability to do. And again, as you're working, just want to last note here, I know that we're almost out of time. As you're working with these actual components, the properties panel here on the right-hand side is where you can change the color, the sizes, how they interact, and even business rules. Maybe if I fill out the business phone, I want to make the email required or vice versa. There are business rules that you can attach with this too as well. There's a lot of good information out there at learn.microsoft.com. It'll walk you through how to build an app from scratch. It'll walk you through the terminology. It's a fantastic site. Again, at learn.microsoft.com. I utilize it all the time, right? It's just a great site to use. And so to kind of recap everything together here, CDS is that core. It's where the data is stored. It's how you interact with those connectors. And from that, you have Power Automate, which is really automating all of your applications. You can build applications, those functions, those Canvas apps, those model-driven apps, utilizing Power Apps. And then to analyze all of that data from all of the different systems that you might have and be able to have one coherent or one dashboard, you could do that with inside of Power BI. So with that, I'm going to open it up for 4 minutes worth of questions that we might have at this point.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alejandro. And Margaret did share at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, that we do have an extra 10 minutes. I realize that people probably have a hard stop, but if you do have a burning question that's going to take a little longer to answer, we can hang out for a few minutes and answer them for you. So just wanted to remind you that you can type your question into the Zoom chat there as part of the Zoom panel thing. And Margaret also just put the chat to please share your feedback by rating the session and leaving any comments. And you can do that under the polls tab at the session page next to the chat tab, and you'll earn points in the technology game by doing this. Ooh, gamification, I love it. So do we have any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. Nothing came in during the presentation because you did too good, Alejandro. You just explained things too well.
I like it. Awesome. Either that or it's deer in headlights right now. No, right.
That was a lot of information.
I tried to slam it all in there. It was a lot. I'd love to do one-on-ones, anything along those lines. My contact information is there. I'd be happy to showcase anything around the Power Platform to anybody on these meetings, just to really get a deeper understanding of it and how it could work for your department.
Right, you've got 2 more minutes left in the session, but again, we can go over if you have a burning question. Can you give another demo? Could you indicate what demo you would like to have done? What would you like to see demoed again? Because there were a couple in there. Build us an app. Alejandro, could you build us another app?
Build us another app? Sure, why not? Let's do it. I like it. You know, so maybe I'll pull one of these template apps in, right? Maybe a site inspection. I could click on this site inspection, which is that template app, and go ahead and hit create. And what it's going to do, it's going to grab that template and bring all of those components together for us. And we can build off of that. We can make changes. But if you notice here, as it's building this app, we have the ability to interact with it just like how we were doing with one from scratch, which is from that studio, right? So I have a couple warning messages here. So give me a second. And this is my first time using this app. So, hey, we're in this together. So as you can see, you can make your own version of this app by connecting to a data storage such as OneDrive. It's really what it's trying to say here. So if I wanted to, I can go ahead and hit play. There's some dummy data in here. And look at this app. I can drive into the different buildings. It's giving me information about these different sites, right? So I can see building number 16. It was it has the 1-story, 60+ vehicles can be stored here. I can go ahead and hit edit, and maybe I want to make some changes to it, maybe upload some photos. You can see here that I have full capability of making any kind of changes to this. I can enter in an address or use a GPS current location. So it'll be able to really say, you know what, you're at that site and you're checking in. Maybe you need to do that inspection. That's something you can do with, you know, that location feature on mobile devices and say you're at the actual site. And again, this all works offline capabilities. So you'd be able to pull that information down into a local database in your mobile device and then upload that information after you're done interacting with this app, you know, down the road when you get internet connection. So again, this is something that you can kind of work with, and I can pull in different fields. I can change the look of things. Maybe I don't want to, in this edit screen, I want to capture some additional information too as well. I can pull in a component like the text label here, and from that, I want to put that into this location, maybe make this smaller. And as you can see, I'm actually making edits to this app so that, you know, whatever you want to do, right, in that way. And if you wanted to, you can actually pull in additional capabilities around charts. So if you wanted a Power BI, you can actually embed Power BI right into here. So don't think of them as being individual workspaces. I can actually change this and say, you know what, I want to bring in this information, right, from this workspace. Maybe I don't have anything there. Let's see. There we go. Pull that in, and I want to see new stores. And just like that, my Power BI is now coming into this app, already pulling in 10 new stores in the area, maybe, right? And Power BI is now embedded into this just by dragging and dropping and picking the right attributes without having to do anything other than that. Any other questions or anything like that?
Awesome. Thank you, Alejandro. Did that answer your question there, Scott? Was that enough of a demo, or do you want to see anything particular in that? I can unmute you if that's easier. That was good? Okay, sweet, awesome. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the question, and thank you folks for joining us. I think this has been great. And thank you, Margaret, for being a great moderator.
Thank you all to Alejandra and Petra for the great session. So much to learn. Again, I apologize the video didn't work, but we hope you have a great rest of the day and join the next sessions and tomorrow. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Can as he said, email Alejandro directly, and we look forward to seeing you all in other sessions.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.